Hello and welcome back to Discover Your Dreamz. I'm so glad you're here, truly, because if you've clicked on this video, something inside you is still tender. Maybe you've gone through a breakup that shattered your sense of safety, or maybe you're still carrying the quiet ache of a love that ended years ago. You might even be in that strange in-between place, the one where life looks fine on the outside, but inside it still feels like something is missing. I'm Cynthia, and I spend most of my time walking alongside people, especially those over 45, who are ready to rediscover their purpose and design a life that feels joyful, free, and full of possibility. If that sounds familiar, take a deep breath with me. You are not broken. You are becoming. Heartbreak, as painful as it is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your transformation. It's an invitation to step into a higher level of awareness, one where pain becomes your teacher, not your identity. I know it can feel endless sometimes. Grief doesn't follow a straight line. It's more like a tide. Some days you think you're finally free, and then a song plays on the radio or catch a familiar scent in the air, and suddenly you're right back there. In the moment, it all fell apart. And that can feel discouraging, I know. But here's the thing no one tells you. That's not failure. That's healing, doing its work. The heart heals in layers, and every time those memories surface, it's another chance to meet them with awareness instead of pain. Yet if we don't consciously work with heartbreak, if we just try to move on or bury it under busyness, it begins to define us. We start wearing invisible labels like the one who was left, the one who wasn't chosen, or the one who just isn't enough. Those identities can quietly run our lives, shaping every future relationship, every decision, and even how we see ourselves. But the truth is, those labels aren't who you are. They're just stories your wounded heart has been repeating. And today, we're going to start rewriting that story. Because what if your heartbreak wasn't a punishment, but a portal? What if this pain, the one that feels like it might never end, is actually guiding you back home to yourself? Today, we're going to explore that idea through the wisdom of three of my favorite powerful teachers, each offering a key to unlocking your healing. The first is Dr. Joe Dispenza, who shows us how emotions are energy and how we can break free from the chemical addiction to the past so that we can create a new emotional future. Neville Goddard, who teaches the extraordinary power of imagination, how to live in the end of our desired reality and begin to feel whole again before the evidence shows up. And Napoleon Hill, who reminds us that every adversity carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit, meaning that even your deepest heartbreak holds hidden gifts, waiting for you to claim them. By the end of this episode, you won't just understand heartbreak differently, you'll see it as one of the most powerful turning points of your life. You'll have practical, spiritual tools to transform your pain into power, your sorrow into wisdom, and your grief into growth. So if you're ready to begin releasing the past and creating your next chapter, one filled with peace, love, and possibility, take another deep breath, settle in. You've arrived exactly where you need to be. Let's get started. Let's start with Dr. Joe Dispenza's perspective, because this is where healing truly begins to make sense on a deeper scientific level. Dr. Dispenza teaches that emotions are energy in motion. Every thought you think sends a signal to your brain, and that signal creates a chemical reaction in your body. In other words, your body is literally feeling whatever your mind is focusing on. Now, think about what happens after heartbreak. When we replay the moment it ended, the look on their face, the words that broke us, the silence that followed, the brain doesn't know the difference between then and now. It fires the same neural circuits, releases the same chemical messengers, and your body reacts as if it's all happening again in real time. That's why heartbreak feels so all-consuming. It's not just in your head, it's in your cells. Your mind relives the story, and your body re-feels the pain. Over time, this becomes more than a habit, it becomes a state of being. Dr. Dispenza calls this becoming chemically addicted to the past. Every time we think the same thoughts of loss or regret, we release the same stress hormones, and the body begins to crave what's familiar, even if that familiar feeling is sadness or longing. It's why some people can't seem to move forward, even when they desperately want to. Their minds are in one time zone, trying to imagine a new life, but their bodies are still living in yesterday. You may have even felt that conflict yourself. A part of you knows you want to move on. but another part keeps being pulled back into old emotions. That's not weakness, that's biology. And the good news is, once you understand this, you can change it. Here's the empowering truth. If you can wire yourself into pain, you can also wire yourself into healing. Your brain is plastic. It can change. Your body can relearn. The same way your body memorized heartbreak, it can memorize joy, peace, and freedom again. But to do that, we have to become conscious creators of our emotions instead of unconscious reactors to our memories. That means instead of rehearsing the pain of the past, you start rehearsing the emotions of your future. Take a moment right now and ask yourself, what emotions do I want my future self to live in? Gratitude? Peace? Love? Freedom? Confidence? Can you feel what it might be like to wake up in the morning and not have the heaviness of yesterday on your chest? Can you imagine feeling genuinely excited about life again? Not because anything outside you has changed yet, but because you have. When you start to generate those emotions now, before the evidence shows up, something profound happens. You begin signaling to your body that the healing has already occurred. And over time, your nervous system, your heart, your brain, all start aligning with that new reality. That's what Dr. Dispenza calls becoming your future self. You're no longer a prisoner of the past. You're a preview of what's coming. And the more often you choose that elevated emotional state, the weaker your old story becomes. Because the body can't serve two masters. It will always align with the emotional pattern you feed it most. So this week, I want to challenge you to do something simple but powerful. Whenever you catch yourself replaying the story of loss or rejection, take a pause, take a deep breath, and gently shift your focus to the emotion you want to feel instead, even if it's just for a few seconds. That's how the healing begins, not by forcing yourself to forget, but by teaching your body what it feels like to be free again. Now let's bring in the teachings of Neville Goddard, one of the greatest mystics of his time. Neville taught that imagination is not just a place to escape reality, it creates reality. He said, imagination is the creative power of God within you. Think about that for a moment. The same imagination you might have once used to replay painful memories, to see the moment they walked away, or to imagine what you could have said differently, that same power can also build your healing. Neville called this practice living in the end. And what that means is beautifully simple. Instead of imagining the process, the waiting, or all the steps it takes to get there, you go straight to the end result. You imagine the version of you who has already healed. You don't focus on the how, you focus on the done. So instead of imagining the person you lost, imagine the feeling of being whole again. Imagine waking up and realizing that the heaviness you once carried is gone. Imagine opening your eyes to a soft morning light and feeling peace instead of pain. Picture yourself looking in the mirror, smiling, not because you've forgotten the past, but because you've transformed through it. Because here's the truth Neville wanted us to know. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you consistently feel the emotion of your desired state, love, peace, and wholeness, you impress that feeling upon your subconscious, and that's where creation begins. Let's do a quick practice together, right here, right now. If you can, close your eyes for just a moment. Take a slow, deep breath in, and exhale gently. Now imagine yourself 6 months from today. You're waking up in the morning, sunlight spilling across your room. You stretch, and the first thing you feel is peace. Not numbness, peace. A soft, grounded sense that everything in your life is unfolding just as it should. You get up, maybe you make coffee, maybe you step outside for a moment of stillness, and there's this quiet joy humming underneath it all. You smile, not because someone else made you happy, but because you've fallen in love with life again. Maybe you're in a new home that feels like a fresh start. Maybe you've reconnected with old friends or found new ones who see the real you. Or maybe, for the first time, you're simply enjoying your own company, content, centered, and free. Feel that version of yourself. See the colors around you. Hear the sounds of your new morning. Feel the texture of peace in your body. And most importantly, feel the emotion of it as if it's happening right now. That feeling, that deep, settled, peaceful joy, is the seed of your new reality. It's your subconscious blueprint for healing. Neville said, feeling is the secret. When you feel something with conviction, when you live as though it's already true, your mind and body begin to align with that frequency. And from there, life starts to rearrange itself in ways that match the new vibration you're holding. So every time the old memories come up, every time your mind wants to return to what was, gently redirect your attention back to this scene. Water it with attention, feed it with gratitude, because what you focus on expands, and what you feel consistently, you eventually become. You are not imagining to escape your pain, you're imagining to transform it. And that practice, that sacred use of your imagination, is where the real healing begins. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, once said, "Every adversity, every failure, even heartache, carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." At first, that quote can feel almost cruel when your heart is shattered. When you're in the thick of heartbreak, when your chest aches and your mind replays every moment on a loop, it's hard to believe that there's any benefit hiding inside the pain. But what Hill understood, and what time and perspective reveal, is that pain has a purpose. It's a teacher in disguise. Heartbreak is a hidden training ground. It refines you. It humbles you. It breaks down the walls of who you thought you were and invites you to meet who you really are. When the illusion that love is merely attachment dissolves, what remains is the truth of who you are, your inherent worth, your sacred boundaries, your deep capacity to love, and the quiet strength that carries you forward. So instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Because within every ending, there's an initiation, a moment when your old identity dies and a new one begins to form. This is the sacred alchemy of healing, turning pain into purpose. Let's pause and reflect for a moment. Ask yourself, what has this heartbreak taught me about love? Maybe it taught you that real love doesn't require you to shrink. What has it taught me about boundaries? Maybe it showed you where you gave too much, hoping to be chosen. What has it taught me about self-respect? Maybe it revealed that you are always worthy, even when someone else couldn't see it. When you begin to extract the lessons, you start to reclaim the power you once gave away. This is where journaling becomes a sacred act of transformation. Write it down, pour it out, not to dwell on the pain, but to mine the wisdom hidden beneath it. You see, when you refuse to let heartbreak make you bitter, it makes you brilliant. It awakens something inside you, compassion, strength, clarity, qualities that only come from walking through fire and refusing to lose your light. Napoleon Hill often spoke about the power of transmutation, the art of turning struggle into creative fuel. And that's exactly what you're doing when you transform your pain into purpose. You're taking something that once felt like it destroyed you and using it to build something sacred, wisdom, passion, and depth. Because the truth is, pain doesn't have to be permanent, but purpose can last a lifetime. So instead of building your next chapter from wounds, build it from wisdom. Instead of closing your heart in fear, open it with discernment. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What now?" You are not defined by what broke you. You are defined by how you rise from it and what you create with it. Heartbreak may have been the fire that cracked you open, but purpose is the light that pours through the cracks, and that light, your light, is what will guide you forward. If this message is resonating with you and you're wanting a more hands-on way to work towards your goals, I've put together a workbook, Manifest Your Best Life, a midlife guide to transformation, to help you do just that. It's designed to help you take action that creates lasting change. Rooted in the teachings of Neville Goddard, Napoleon Hill, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, this guide is crafted especially for adults 45 and older who are ready to rewrite their story and step into a life of purpose and fulfillment. Inside, you'll find simple, practical exercises to help you shift your mindset, align your emotions, and finally create the relationships, health, and financial freedom you've been dreaming of. And if you're ready to go even deeper, I offer one-on-one coaching to help you apply these tools directly to your unique goals and challenges, with personalized support every step of the way. So if you're done waiting and ready to start living the life you were meant for, grab your copy of Manifest Your Best Life today, and let's take the journey together. The links are in the description below. Now let's get back to our lesson. Language is powerful, more powerful than most of us realize. Every word we speak about our past becomes a blueprint for our future. The stories we tell ourselves aren't just reflections of what was, they're instructions to the subconscious mind about what is. If we say, I was abandoned, our body and mind relive abandonment. If we say, I lost love, we unconsciously rehearse loss. Over time, those phrases become part of our identity, and that identity shapes the kind of future we allow ourselves to experience. But what if you changed the script? What if I was abandoned became, I was redirected towards something better aligned with my soul? What if I lost love became, I am being prepared for a deeper, more conscious love? What if I was rejected became, I am being refined? You see, this isn't about denying what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about choosing language that liberates you rather than locks you in your past. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that when we change our thoughts, we change the chemical signals we send to the body. Neville Goddard takes this one step further. He teaches that the moment we assume a new state of being, the outer world begins to reshape itself to match. So when you choose new words, new meaning, you're not just rewriting your story, you're reconditioning your energy. Let's take it from the abstract into practice. Here's a Neville-inspired self-concept statement you can begin using today. I am someone who gives and receives love with ease and joy. Write it down. Say it aloud every morning and every night. Whisper it when you catch your reflection in the mirror. Speak it especially in the moments when the old story tries to resurface. Because the subconscious doesn't change through logic, it changes through repetition and emotion. Each time you affirm that new identity, you're pulling your future closer to the present moment. And here's a little tip to deepen the process. When you say the affirmation, feel it. Feel what it would be like to wake up in a life where love flows easily. Feel the peace in your body, the warmth in your chest, the lightness in your spirit. That feeling is the bridge between where you are and where you're going. Reframing your story isn't about erasing the past. It's about redeeming it. It's about declaring, I am no longer the character who suffered. I am the author who creates. Every time you tell your story from a place of empowerment, you move one step closer to the version of you who has already healed, the one who is whole, open, and ready for the next beautiful chapter. So how do we take everything we've just talked about, the energy, the imagination, the reframing, and actually make it real in our daily lives? Because awareness alone isn't enough. Healing happens through consistent practice, through showing up, one small moment at a time, as the version of yourself you're becoming. Here are a few simple yet deeply transformative practices to help you integrate this work. In the morning, before the noise of the world sets in, take 10 minutes just for you. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and tune into the energy of your future self, the version of you who has already healed, already forgiven, already moved forward. As Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches, you're not waiting for your new life to happen so you can feel different. You're feeling differently so that your new life can happen. Feel the emotions of that healed version of you. Peace, love, freedom, joy. Let your body memorize those emotions so they become your new baseline. You're literally reprogramming your nervous system to live in the frequency of your desired future. At the end of each day, write down at least 3 things you're grateful for, even the smallest things. Maybe it's a kind word, a sunset, or simply the fact that you made it through another day. Gratitude is one of the highest emotional frequencies there is. It tells your subconscious mind, I already have everything I need. Napoleon Hill said that the mind becomes magnetized with the dominating thoughts we hold. When gratitude is your dominant emotion, you attract more moments that mirror that energy back to you. So before bed, let gratitude be your final thought. Drift to sleep in appreciation, and you'll begin waking up in the new vibration. At least once a day, Spend a few minutes visualizing yourself healed, whole, and thriving. Don't just see it, feel it. Feel what it's like to wake up excited about life again. Feel what it's like to trust yourself, to love without fear, to live without the weight of the past. Neville Goddard called this living in the end. When you live in the feeling of your fulfilled desire, your outer world begins to reorganize to match it. The key is consistency. The more you visit this imagined reality, the more familiar it becomes, until one day it feels more real than the pain ever did. Remember, healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about reclaiming your creative power, the power to choose again, to believe again, to love again. Every time you meditate, journal, or visualize, you're sending a clear message to the universe and to your own subconscious. Say to yourself, I am no longer defined by what happened to me. I am defined by what I choose to create. And little by little, those choices add up. The heaviness begins to lift, your heart begins to open, and you realize you were never broken. You were becoming whole all along. So let me leave you with this. You're not broken. You are being rebuilt, stronger, wiser, and more open to love than ever before. Your story isn't over. In fact, the best chapter hasn't even begun. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this episode resonated, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear that heartbreak is not the end. It's the beginning of becoming. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.